I'm Kim Snyder, creator of the Voice Club Method here at thevoiceclub.com. And today, some things you've never considered before about how to get out there and sing. It's a lot harder than you think to say, I'm a singer, I want to get out there, I want to do a lot of singing, but where do I start? There seem to be, the usual suspects, but then we seem to be really defeated. And there are a lot of really crucial reasons why you need to be out there singing. I'm going to go over those today. Make sure you have a pen, paper, and also in the comments, tell me what kind of music you love to sing live. If you had to be out there tomorrow singing for 2 hours, what kind of music would you want to sing? What song would you want to be singing? Some stuff is just a lot more fun live. You know what I mean? And now, it's been a weird year for everyone around the world, but I believe that because of this weird year, there exists some really rare opportunities to get out and sing in the next couple months that normally wouldn't exist. So I want to draw your attention to those, and I want to get your brain thinking. If you've listened to videos of mine in the past, you've heard me say, a singer sings. If you're a singer, and are you a singer? Go listen to the first live stream we did, and I answered the question, are you a singer? And if the answer is yes to that episode, then you know that the next thing you need to be doing is singing. A lot easier said than done because of where do I go and what do I do? And but other people are doing that and I don't know how to get in and it's a closed little group and I live in a small town, blah, 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 blah. None of that stuff applies when I give you some of the basic information that you need to have today. So, one of the things that I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes was the talent formula. And the talent formula is interest in a subject plus your experience in a subject plus your skill in a subject. Those are the three things that equal your amount of talent in any creative art. Okay, so if you're very interested, experience is getting out and singing. That's why we need to do it. It's super, super important. Singing on its own, getting out there and singing is not going to make you better. That's where skill comes in. Skill is what you know about your voice that actually is true. Unfortunately, so much of what is taught out there is just not based on truth. I'm a lover of Christian music as well. Oh, I've got a good idea and a story I think that will really apply to you, John. Mental note, tell the story. Okay, so if you want to get out and you have experience, that's going to remove some obstacles that will make getting out there to sing again much easier and more fun overall, which means gaining more experience over time is going to become easier. And one of the most important things that we really don't think about as singers is that opportunities to sing come when you're out there singing. So if you don't get out there and sing, and you want to get out there and sing, unless you're out creating your opportunities, you're not going to find opportunities that come to you because people are not going to track you down at home. Now, I can have my YouTube channel and, Justin Bieber, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 1% of 1%, sure. But everybody else is just not going to work like that. Have those things, it's good to have, but you never rely on those for people to find you. You go out and create your own situations to sing so that you can have the experience and be getting better all the time. Okay. Now, tell me in the comments of the most common places when I say, okay, you just got to get out there and sing. A lot of times I'll end a podcast or a video and I'll say, now get out there and sing. What comes to mind? Where should you get out there to sing? Where do you go? Let me know in the comments what you usually think of. I know in the past I've thought of, okay, that means I've got to get in a choir, or I've got to be on my worship team since I'm always involved in my church, or I've got to go to a karaoke bar, or it's open mic night, and all of these kind of things. Now, I call them low-hanging fruit. They're the most obvious places that are just kind of like anybody can go do this stuff. We're going to skip those for a very important reason. When we decide that we're going to get out there and sing, we have a goal in mind. We already talked about that. If we're building our talent, the experience is adding into our skill what we understand and is true about our voice, how to keep it healthy, how to make it better, what our obstacles are, how to remove those obstacles, and that's kind of what I'm trying to help give you through these free training sessions. But what we know, putting it into action through the experience so that we can increase our talent, so that we can enjoy singing more, and then opportunities to sing just kind of come out of that. And then that whole snowball just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's just so much more fun. I want this for you. But we can't just go out there willy-nilly and say open mic night. I'm not a fan of open mic nights. I'm not a fan of karaoke night. Are they an opportunity to sing? Yes. And if you get a chance to go out with your friends, take it. Take it. And John says, opportunities in nursing homes. Oh, yes. I started singing with my two older sisters when I was 4. We were 4, 5, and 6. And we used to travel around and do stuff. But one of the places that we sang regularly was in nursing homes. Matter of fact, one of my 2 pro students are the Command Sisters from Canada. And they've been on every major stage you could be on in major stadiums and played with major artists and been to all the MTV shoots and all that. But really, they've spent more time at the elder care facilities in Canada than they probably have at red carpet events. And the beautiful thing about going to a place like that is that you'll never find anyone else who appreciates you more. You'll never find anyone who likes your music more than you will at an elderly home. They are craving attention and affection because, honestly, they deserve a lot more than they get. And when they're kind of put in places, they're kind of passed over and not really valued like I think our elders should be. So to take the time out and go sing for them is really something I think we should be doing, on top of the fact that it's just flippin' fun and they are so gracious and they are so wonderful. I love that idea. That's at the top of my personal favorite list, John, all the time. Okay, so I want you to think of getting out to sing in this framework. I want you to think of the talent formula. There's a reason we want to get out and sing. It's to build the experience part of our talent formula. Okay, so what do we want experience in? If we want experience in, hey, hanging out with our friends and sloshing back a few and just acting stupid with a mic, then karaoke night is fine. But think about it as a singer, not just going out to have fun and it just happens to be the low-hanging fruit and there's a mic there and I can sign up and I can do it. It's an opportunity to sing, take it, sure. But that should not be the goal of when you go out to look for places to sing. The goal is, where can I find experience in what I'm looking for experience in? So what kind of places do I need experience in? Now, don't tell me I need experience in a festival and I need to find my way into that, but I've never sung in front of people before, because you're not ready for experience in front of that many people because the opportunities for that are just not going to exist. The hardest audience in the whole wide world to sing in front of, people don't believe me until they get in a session with me, and then I prove it to them. Hardest place to sing is in front of one other person that you think knows at least as much as you know about singing. If you think they know more, even if they don't, it's even worse. It is by far the hardest audience to sing in front of. I've been blessed enough that I've had some great opportunities. I've sung in front of, well, they said there were like 500,000 people at this one outdoor city event. I don't think there were that many, but I certainly couldn't see any faces. They were all dots for blocks and blocks. So whatever, there were a lot of people, right? But here's the truth. I've sung for lots of tiny little groups and still do. And I've been in front of tons of big groups. And I can tell you that the big groups are easier because you don't see the eyeballs. The big groups, I think people think, are more fun because you don't see the eyeballs looking at you. And to a certain extent, that's true. But the better you get at developing your skill as a singer, one of the payoffs of being able to do that is to have people look at you and watch in their eyes when they connect to what you're doing. That's the payoff for what you do. And if you can't see their eyes at that point, you're kind of robbing yourself of some of the benefit of getting out there to sing. Okay, so when we think about that, we want experience. What do we want experience in? Well, let's think about the things that you feel least secure in right now. Is it just being in front of people? And if it's being in front of people, it's probably small crowds that are harder for you than big crowds, because the smaller the crowd and the closer you are to them, the more you can see them, what we believe and we always infer to be judging us. Almost always they're not. They're looking at you to be polite. They're not even aware of what look is on their face, and we take it to mean they personally think negative things towards us. But these are valuable things we need to have experience in. I also want you to think in light of your goals as a singer. Now, let me just demystify the whole I want to be a star on a label thing. I worked as a professional singer. I made my entire living, my entire adulthood with my voice, both speaking and singing. And no one, outside of a very small group of people, knew who I was. Hi, Bianca. It's not the goal of every singer to have their name in lights or to be on a record label. Matter of fact, I started working in radio when I was 15, and I started interviewing all those label artists behind the scenes. By the time I was 17, I knew definitively I never wanted to be on a record label because I saw how exhausted they were and they were so lonely. I got to see the things most people don't get to see. So it's not that the goal in being a singer is to be on an album or to do a world tour and that somehow proves to everybody you're good. How do you know if you've arrived as a singer? Are you singing? Are you enjoying it? That is the measurement. Doesn't matter what other people think, because most other people aren't going to be in your life more than once or twice here and there, and they come and go. You live with your opinion of you forever. Singing is a gift to you, given for you to enjoy. So learning to experience it and enjoy it more, that is the gift that keeps on giving. And trust me, I've both seen many, many other people in this situation, and I have been there too, where you're working as a singer, and because of the constraints, the bigger the job gets and all the musicians that are involved and all the money on the line, it gets so stressful that a lot of those situations are almost unenjoyable. And it's like, why am I doing this? This is just stressful. So sometimes we go out and we'll pop in and do one of the ideas that I'm going to give you today, because that's when you recover your joy for singing. So never underestimate the joy that you can get in singing anywhere. Am I out singing? Do I enjoy it? And is it meeting a goal for something I'm working on? Whether that goal is to get more comfortable in front of people, maybe that goal is to be more fluid when you start and stop a song. And I would really encourage you, whatever your goal is, whatever you want to work on right now in your voice and the way that you are in front of people, that you limit it to no more than 2 things. Any more than that, you're just setting yourself up to be overwhelmed. You can't work on that many things. I think 1 is plenty. Some people have 2 because they kind of work together, right? Okay, so we're going to keep our talent formula in mind. We need experience. That teaches us that's half of our, well, it's 1/3 of our talent. So we need experience. What is our goal? What are we working on right now that we want to get better in? Okay, now that we've kind of got those things in mind, if I say that I want to get better at, okay, I worked in radio for 25 years, and dead air just means the split second, which means a portion of a second that nobody says anything is like death to me. I literally still have nightmares about dead air. That's why I talk and talk and never stop. There's no dead air. So to not have smooth transitions between songs drives me insane. So I will always work on those kind of things. It's another reason that open mic night, karaoke night are so unfulfilling, because I can't work on that. It's at the mercy of somebody else. It's stop and start and stop and start. Drive me crazy. So think about, what is my goal? I want to get out and sing, and that you are going to find these opportunities yourself. Most of the wonderful, incredible opportunities you will have in your entire life as a singer are going to be ones that came to you either because you sought them out or came to you as a result of something you sought out. Remember that. So when you think, oh, I can't find any place to sing, remember it all starts with you seeking out places to sing so that you can get more comfortable with the things that steal your joy as a singer, so that you can enjoy singing more. And the more that joy shows when you sing, the more other people want you to come and sing at other things. And I would suggest that whenever you get an opportunity to sing, even if it's not your kind of thing, unless it's something you're totally opposed to or absolutely can't do, just say yes. Never say no because you think you can't do it. The best thing that ever happened in my life was to be a voice for hire. In other words, I'd get a phone call. They would email me a list of 40 songs. You'd have 2 days. And I just didn't grow up listening to a lot of different genres, so they'd all be new to me. And in 2 days, I had to learn all these standards from all these different decades and figure out how to pull them off believably and go sing them. Now, if I didn't have that deadline, I would have told myself I couldn't do that. I wasn't familiar with those songs. I don't even know where to start or whose version to even listen to, and I never would have done it. I never would have learned 9/10 of everything I know as a performer if I had not had that deadline. So when you say yes to every opportunity that you create or somebody offers to you, you create a deadline that forces you into an opportunity that you might otherwise just kind of back your way out of. We tend to do that. All right. Anything you guys are thinking? What kind of places have you gone before when you've thought, I want to sing? What kind of opportunities do you tend to get? Post that in the comments. Do you get asked to sing at weddings and funerals? Do you get asked to sing in your church for a solo? Do you get asked to sing at birthday parties? When I work with very few singers privately by choice and because of ongoing health issues. And honestly, I just don't like sitting in this chair for hours and hours and hours a week. So I work with very few people, but when I work with them, regardless of their skill level, their age, or their musical goals, we are always working on places and creative ways to find places to sing, because it's a super important part of developing your joy for singing, is to get past some of the things that will kill your joy, and usually those are nerves and things like that. Sometimes it is so simple to think of ways to sing. Remember, all we need is a place for you to do something you love. That's the only goal. If there's more than 10 people in the room, it's going to be a little less awkward, right? But it's not about having a big crowd. It's not about scheduling things way ahead. At the end of this, at the end of today, I'm going to give you some tips to how to think like your own manager. And I'm going to give you some tips to go about finding some avenues to sing more like a manager would, because I think for some of you, that's going to give you some really great ideas, and you're going to kind of flower off from that, come up with some new things that'll be exciting, okay? But I want to start really simple. Coffee house, okay? Chances are there's a coffee house someplace. Now, a lot of states and different countries are still shut down from the coronavirus. I'm in a shutdown state that will probably never open just because they think it's so much fun to see what people can jump through hoops when they tell them to. I'm pretty sure they're just enjoying that part of it way too much. But there are lots of places that have in the past had live music that are not having music right now. I want you to think about that as you think about where to sing. Where in your town, in neighboring cities, in your county, in your area, your village, wherever you live, what kind of events go on? And this time of year is perfect. October, November, perfect time to find places to sing, because holiday music. There are more opportunities to sing holiday music than there are any other time of the year. And it is my opinion that we all need to be singing and hear joyful singing more now, this year, at holiday time, than probably ever before in our lives. Everybody needs it, everybody wants it, and I promise you, anybody that gets out there and sings at holidays this year is going to be rewarded much bigger than ever before in history, because people are going to be so grateful for a sense of normality, a sense of celebration, something to be excited about for a change, right? I know I would be. I'm looking forward to the holidays just for that. Now, we have some things to work around because some things aren't open up like they used to. But here is the incredible benefit of the virus. Some things are starting to open up. Some things are all the way open up. Some things are not. But whether in your area it's all open or still completely closed, like in my area, there is a vacuum that exists. There were places that were paying to bring bands in, or they had artists coming regularly, whether it's a coffee house or a restaurant or a place that has live music, or, music in the park, or, just think about what kind of things go on in your community or the next community over. Just think about how far am I willing to drive for an opportunity to sing? And that's going to be your net, your original net. And you're going to think, what kind of things? Go to your Chamber of Commerce site. Look up different places where they have live music. And you'll be able to narrow this down pretty quickly. Now, you know that those places are not having live music. They've not had live music all summer. Now, do they have the budget for live music? They obviously did have the budget, but they canceled it. And considering everything that's happened to small businesses, they don't have the budget to pay. So I'm not saying go scoop up that money that's just waiting for you. What I'm asking you to scoop up is an incredible opportunity that every other singer is going to totally not even think of. They're going to think music's shut down. But what we have is people starting to come back into restaurants, coffee houses, and all of these venues that normally would provide music. And there is a need for people to hear live music. Again, it's celebration. Music is joy for the listener as much as for the singer. Sometimes I think more fun for the singer, but it just depends. And they are much more apt to respond in a positive way, which is much more apt to feed your joy as a singer. So you can get in on that corner market right now. What you need to do is find those places that were going to have bands and approach them and say, if I were to come in and do a set, you don't have to pay me. Could I come in and do some live music now that you've started to open to X amount of people? You can stand in the corner and just provide a little live music, something like that. And at the end of this today's thing, I'm also going to give you some ideas when we talk about how to act as your own manager, how to go about approaching those people and getting those opportunities to work, and not just be like, I'm a singer and I really want to sing, please, please, please let me in, because that never works. Just saying, I've tried it. Doesn't work. Okay, your goal. I want to work on getting this issue taken care of. What is this issue? It's an issue that is going to take you getting in front of people to solve. Number one thing that's bugging me about when I sing in front of people right now that's really kind of holding me back from the joy of singing is, you probably can fill in that blank right now, right? Then you say, okay, I want to find some place to go sing so that I can have more experience overcoming that problem. And experience, just being in different places, different times, is the only thing that is going to solve some of those problems. So I want you to think about a little bit differently. Well, I've just told you there's a whole lot more opportunity that exists now that didn't before, because all the bands have been canceled. The crowds are starting to come back. The crowds are going to respond much more nicely to musicians right now, which gives you much better opportunity to not have rude people in the restaurant. I've been through all that. That's a whole different level of skill. I have to teach singers how to put up with rude people and let them not take it personally. You probably won't even have that problem right now. But I want you to think about how to find places to sing in a little bit different way. Like, for instance, crash a band. Who do you know that's a musician? Who do you know that's out there trying to find places to sing? I heard from one of my singers that I'm working with right now said that they had a friend that was in musical theater, and they were putting on a bunch of shows till the virus hit, and they've been closed down. So she just happened to find out in a conversation that they were doing these live Zoom meetings where they were all just performing. And she asked if she could be invited to one. Now, it just came up in a conversation. She was talking to another musician who does the kind of music she doesn't even do, but she got invited into that opportunity to perform in front of other musicians, giving her experience, and actually experience with tech too, which is another area of expertise that I believe every singer needs to have and be growing in constantly, because tech is so much a part of everything we can do. So she's going to get it. She's got an invite to join this group and perform digitally within this group of musicians, which is a great opportunity. So you can look online to see what kind of people are meeting online, because that's the answer their group came up with. But think about what other musicians you know. I did something I've never, ever done before. I've done some wacky things to find places to sing before, but I never generally will ask a student to do anything, because I just think that kind of crosses a line. But we just happened to be talking about finding places and the importance of getting out to sing. And my student said, I think I'm going to go out and try to find some place to do on Christmas. And I was pitching some ideas. And so I said, you know what? If you need a singer, you're a musician, you're a singer, I'm a singer. If you line anything up, happy to come sing with you. So message your musician buddies. If you don't play an instrument, and I can get by, plunking out a few things and recording, but I don't play proficiently any instrument. And believe it or not, if you don't either, don't feel bad. A lot of singers don't proficiently play an instrument. And if you do, like just an extra pat on the back when no one's looking. Just saying. It's pretty cool. So if you don't play an instrument, find your friends that do play an instrument. It's okay if they've got 17 singers. Don't feel like you're just the third or 17th wheel, 18th wheel. It's an opportunity for you to work on the things that you can only work on by getting experience. Crash a band. Find a band that is musicians that are getting together because they're frustrated, no place to sing. Even if it's just a garage band opportunity, get in front of them, get out and sing in that way. Or find some other musicians that want to get out and do something, and go through some of the other ideas I'm going to give you. See if you can get together with a couple other people and make this happen. Create a coffee house gig. There are coffee houses that are opening up now. And when I lived in California, I had a really decent amount of private students I was working with at the time. So once a month, I just created a coffee house gig for everybody. And I'll I'll show you through the tips I give you at the end for how to act as your own manager. I used those skills. I went in and I set the whole thing up with a coffee house, and I know what a coffee house wants. And so I approached them based on what they need and what they want, what the trade-off was for them. And that turned out to be our once a month spot. We could put up our banner. They had a nice outdoor staging area so we could really crank it up hot. And then all of the singers got once a month an opportunity to come and perform for strangers and, of course, family and friends that would show up as well. So that was a really cool thing. So if you know somebody, your local businesses, you always want to know your local business people. But even if you don't, using some of the Be Your Own Manager tools that I'm going to give you, you can actually work an opportunity that could work into something paid in the future. We just start putting on your little thinking cap. Okay, so coffee houses, doesn't matter if they've ever had live music before. A coffee house is a perfect size to go with a microphone and some tracks that you can have on your phone. All you need is a little mixer that you can put your microphone into and your phone into that comes out of a little monitor. And I should put some links on this. I helped a singer once put an entire live coffee house setup together for like under $100, everything you need. But chances are you have some of this equipment. You have a phone, you put your tracks on there, make a playlist. You just put a playlist of your karaoke tracks, and then you figure out where your sets are going to be, where your bathroom breaks are going to be. Maybe that's something we want to talk about in the future. I do need ideas for the next episode, so let me know what you want to learn. But you put your set together, you show up a little bit early, you set up, you engage people, and you help people to want to buy coffee while you're there, because that makes the coffee house very, very happy. And then they want to have you back all the time. And then you get the experience you need, and it gets you exposure for more opportunities. Here's another opportunity that most people won't think about. Now, I'm going to say holiday parties. Now, probably you're thinking, oh, yeah, of course, if there was holiday parties, I'd love to get booked for a holiday party. Well, let me just tell you, probably nobody getting booked for a holiday party this year unless it's a very special place that's totally open, okay? But you have holiday parties that are going to happen, your family, your friends, people getting together, and that is a prime opportunity for you to lead singing or for you to provide some singing. Holiday carols are some of the easiest songs to sing. And if you play an instrument, it's so much fun to play around with carols and, make up stupid words to them and just have fun with them and do whatever you want. Get people singing along. Everybody's happy. And a lot of times you'll have other musicians that want to join in with you. It just gets to be a party. I just think there's no holiday party without live singing. And I think the more sporadic, the better. So let's say you're going to get together with family, lucky you, for the holidays. Say, can I bring my guitar and bring my keyboard, and I'll do some music after dinner for everybody. Ain't no one going to say no unless they really, really don't like something you've done in the past. And then that's between the two of you, just saying. But there's an opportunity for you right now. Say, who am I getting together with? Am I getting together with a group of friends over Thanksgiving? I'm getting together with friends or family over between then and New Year's. Offer. Is it awkward the first time? Yeah, totally is. You know what else is awkward? Getting up in front of people and singing. You know what else is awkward? Opening your mouth and singing. You know what else is awkward? Tripping on stage. And about a million other things that you won't find out until you get up in front of people and sing. But that's why we do it, for the experience, so that when we get up and trip in front of people singing the next time, it's not embarrassing. I trip in front of people all the time now. I'm totally unfazed. I've done it so many times. It's like a skill for me. Skill that no one else has. I feel pretty special. Okay, so family gatherings, make yourself the head musician, set it up, ask people for requests, and if you can't play that many songs or you don't know that many songs, you just print them all out, you put them in a little binder, and you just have all your notes, have all your tabs for guitar, whatever you need. You just have it all there, set it down, and you look up and smile while you're singing as much as humanly possible. Do not bury your nose in lyrics. I think whenever you go out to sing live, I'm not a believer in lyrics ever being present when you go out to sing live. The exception I make is when I used to gig for hire. I call them the big black books. I had 3-ring binders for each band because they were large bands and they would have volumes of music, and every band would do different arrangements. So I would have to make notes and there were no rehearsals. So once I did a performance, during the performance, I would have to, find time during that saxophone solo to make a little note of the arrangement that they did so that next time I came back, I could up my ante and make it fun for the musicians, which makes them really want to work with you more. So just another high-level tip you can do to make other bands, you can up your value as a singer over singers that are much better than you by making the musical experience more fun for the other musicians. We should talk about that sometime. Got some ideas for that. Okay, so holiday parties. I want you to think about that. John says he remembers playing at recitals. The most difficult part was walking up and down the stairs. Yes. Okay. I chose the string bass as my first musical instrument in first grade because it was the biggest thing they had. And I like big things, and I cannot lie. I had to stand on a big, big, big box. So I don't remember junior high or something. We were doing our holiday concert, and we were all like in a circle, like in triangles, facing each other in a circle on this big concert floor. And I was going to set my bass down, but I lost grip of it, and it went boom right in that space between songs, like not between songs, but like where the song stops for a dramatic pause and then continues. Yeah, super embarrassing. Yeah. Yes, and the walking and the wobbly knees, right? If you don't have stories like that, I mean, come on. That's what half of performing is all about. Saying, oh, and I remember this. Like, I remember the time I was in front of 40,000 people and I had the raging flu and I had to go, heave in the bucket off to the side and come back out and smile. I mean, those are great stories. Not fun at the time, but really great stories to tell. Okay, you got your holiday ideas. You got make a coffee house gig. You got crash a band or make a band out of all your musician friends. How about guest singing in a group? Now, there's some obvious ones, like you could get involved, and you should be getting involved in any holiday choir, ensemble, anything that is up and going in your area. Find those first, because as we talked about in the Harmony episode, which I'm so bummed because we had a major power outage the second the episode ended, and I lost the recording. So if you were here for the whole Harmony live training, you're the only ones who were, because no one else going to see it, because it didn't get recorded. But we talked about in that how hard it is and why people aren't learning harmony. So if you can get in a choir and an ensemble, that gives you access to that skill and some of those things that we talked about in that. And it looks like I'm going to need to do harmony again sometime. Okay, so think about those choirs, think about ensembles, all of those things that are more obvious. But think about, in the same vein you think about crashing a band. Do I know some musician friends that would get together just to get out of their houses and do some music? You don't have to play the kind of music they play. Y'all just pick holiday music. It's pretty easy. In the same way, think about a group of singers. Do you know a group of singers that like to sing? Everybody put your heads together and say, where do singers usually go to sing? And it's not always about where singers have been paid to sing before, like what restaurants book musicians or bands. If you have tentatively a group that are more singers than are musicians, you don't really have like a band, find a place for you guys to put songs together, whether they're carols, and go and do them. One year, a couple of my younger students or sisters, we set up a custom caroling adventure for them. And they brought in a neighbor with them. We did it as a project, because I always give my students, if they're not working on a deadline, I give them a deadline and we create a project, because that's the most valuable way to learn some of these things. So we created a custom caroling adventure for them. They created the song list. We went through all of the things that were involved, and they planned their route and all of that. And it had nothing to do with anyone else, but they went in their neighborhood, and they had all their songs and they had their solos picked out. They'd worked on it a lot, and they had so much fun, and people gave them all sorts of goodies that they didn't expect, and they had stories to tell. And more important than all of it, they came back just having so much fun. And especially in younger people, I always want to really, really douse them in the joy of singing. The joy that comes from singing. The holidays is just joy. Should be. And we're definitely going to need it this year. So get out there, and it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be a group of senior citizens going around and caroling. I tell you what, when I hear carolers, I get so excited, because it's like it hardly happens anymore. I think everybody needs to just be a sporadic caroler group this year. Go out and sing. You can actually create a caroling group and go down the streets in front of a strip mall, or if you have an indoor-outdoor shopping area, put a group together, get some songs together, and plan your day. And I mean, if it were me, if I got to practice and learn something, I want to get the most mileage out of it. So I would probably go every Saturday. Maybe do the same location, maybe do a different location, but I would do it over and over and over because people are out shopping. And then it's more fun. It's kind of like if you've ever taken part, some of you have, I bet. Let me know in the comments if you've ever taken part in a musical, like a singing, acting opportunity. The hardest part is learning it and getting over the first performance. After that, it gets more and more fun. So it's like you want to have 8 or 12 shows because they're all gravy. That's when the fun gets to happen because the nerves will calm down. It's the same way with singing. You want to be out there singing all the time so you can get past the nerves of it being awkward or not normal, you know, and you could get through to the fun part of it. So if you're going to prepare something, get out and use it as many places as you can. And again, holiday music is perfect for this because it's so usable anywhere you go. Now, I was in a Steely Dan cover band, a really, really, really good one for a while, which was really fun because there's some real complex harmonies in that. That was really fun, but you can't go a lot of places and sing Steely Dan. It is pretty universal as jazz funk kind of stuff, but you know, it's just not everywhere is going to say, yeah, bring that Steely Dan, you know? But if I say we're going to do carols, yeah, for like 6-8 weeks, there's pretty much no place you can't go. So you can go. Busking. If you know what busk is, or frowny face, or any kind of face, in the comments, if you've ever busked or know what busking is, I should wait. Okay. Busking is basically going out, a hat out, or your guitar case open and saying, basically, throw me some off of busking. Now, typically in more market, and people will busk at a farmer's market. There are some areas that farmers markets have started to open. Some areas have just kind of called them off. So you have to see what's opening back up in your area. You're going to find that out through your Chamber of Commerce. They're going to do out probably, I was getting like texts a day. I'm like, there's no way you have that much information. That's just annoying. I shut it off. But go to their site and they should give you a list of everything that's open or everything that's going on or everything that's canceled, and use that as your idea starter. What is going on in my community? What kind of holiday events? And where can I go? So if you are going to go out caroling, if you're going in a mall, you're going to need mall permission. And you know what? If you ask nicely with some of the tips I'm going to give you in the Be Your Own Manager section, honestly, very rarely they're going to say no to you. Two is part of learning to be a performer anyway. So it's just experience either way. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're back up and running. All right, I want to finish off everything we're talking about today in our great, unique ways to find places to sing. Just to recap, we want to make sure that we are singing, getting out there to find the right kind of opportunities. We're looking for experience that will allow us to work on usually the number one thing that's really bugging us. Whether it's just being uncomfortable being in new places or it's stuttering in front of people, whatever the number one thing is that you can practice being in front of other people. That's what we want the experience with. We want also experience that is valuable. So not just getting up to sing anywhere, but things that are really going to give us performance experience. It can be the old standbys, but it certainly doesn't have to be. Well, some of the few that I've mentioned so far have been to crash somebody else's band or crash musicians and make your own band, crash a singing group, create your own. Also create a coffee house singing gig that even didn't exist, maybe one that existed pre-corona and doesn't. Holiday parties, friends, family, these are so easy to do. I actually had a student that I was working with once. We were looking, like I said, with my privates, I always work on creating opportunities, helping them learn how to create their own opportunities to get out there and sing. And she happened to have an artist friend that wanted to show her art. So they created a dinner, invited all their mutual friends, and she provided the music and her friend provided the art. So it was an art and music night at one of their homes. It was just a beautiful gathering of all their friends. It was a really nice event. And they both got to show off their creative art, and they both got experience doing that. And it was really nice because she had done an EP, just a few songs. So she sold a couple of her albums. Her friend sold some of her art. It was a win-win-win. We don't want just win-wins. We want win-win-win-win-win-wins. So think outside of that box. You can always go for choir, things like that. It's great to get around other people that harmonize so that you can learn that skill if you don't have it and get chances to experience that at a deeper level if you do. Now, I want to get to, and we also talked about busking. You can busk anywhere that's outside that acoustic music can go, unless it's on someone's personal property, then you probably need permission. If it's a strip mall, usually you just call the mall office and ask, can I show up and just sing some songs? And they'll say, sure. It's really not hard to get permission to do these kind of things, especially if they normally have musicians. If you have to plug in and do music, and I was just explaining at Pike Place Market in Seattle, it is a busking place, meaning there's no amplified music allowed. Some strip malls will actually have places where you have to reserve with the mall office because you plug into the sound, like on a street lamp or something. You can have all your stuff going. But a lot of places don't have power, so you can busk. It's all just acoustic. But they like to know who's out there and what they're doing. So it's a nice thing to do to call the mall office, or if it's a food festival or a farmer's market, just call the whatever number you find in the Chamber of Commerce and say, I'm a singer. Always lead with I'm a singer. Whether you feel you are or not, just go back to episode 1. You are a singer. I'm a singer. I'd like to get out and share some holiday music. I have about 2 hours worth of material. I'd like to come out on a Saturday in November. Can I come out this weekend? And where should I set up? That's really all you need to know. Okay, so those are some out-of-the-box ideas. Now I want to give you some really good be your own manager skills. Like I told you at the beginning of this episode, because of my work in radio, I knew I never wanted to be on a major label. I knew that was not the kind of life that I wanted as an artist. The touring and being alone and away from everybody and always on the road and always by yourself and singing the same song 140 times, which to me seems really boring. So I knew that I wanted to do something more like gigging with different bands and have constantly challenging different music and things that challenged me more. And I think the more that you know about different kinds of music, the more it allows you to find opportunities that feed you and your own kind of tilt towards things, your own personality a little bit better. And none of them are more valuable than others. Because the goal of singing is to experience the joy in singing. It's not to attain something. They just don't want you to think that, because usually attaining something costs you a lot more money along the way. And someone else seems to always benefit from that. But as a singer, you're going for what benefits you. Now, that said, I have worked as a consultant with label artists. I have been an indie label artist, which allowed me to keep more control. I have worked with live show producers on a consulting end, and through my work in radio and with a record label that I worked with, I've worked with different managers. So I'm going to give you some tips about how to be your own manager. The way I'd like you to think about looking for places to sing is that you are your own manager. Matter of fact, at any level, you will always do the best if you are your own manager. Everybody thinks it's some symbol of success if you have a manager. But really, if you learn what a manager does and do it for yourself, you'll look out for yourself way more than anyone else ever will. It's just like your job to take care of your voice. If you take care of booking yourself and doing all that stuff and learn how to do it, you will always find many better opportunities. This is totally on a different subject, but if you ever want to get a manager, you never need a manager unless they have an immense amount of connections and skill that you could never possibly get in your lifetime. Don't just get someone because they say they're a manager and they've helped some people get some gigs, because that is not hard to do. I'm going to show you how to do it yourself. Okay, as your own manager, what you do, the manager acts as a go-between between the talent and the venue. So let's say coffee house. Coffee house would be the venue, the talent would be you, the singer, and you, the manager, would be the go-between. Now, it's a manager's job, pretty much like a salesperson, to go in and say, what does the coffee house want? What is valuable to them? And what do I want my singer to have? What is valuable to them? What is their goal? And to meet the needs of both, to be a win-win-win. Okay? Win for the people, win for both sides. Win-win-win. So when we go into, like when I talked about going into a coffee house and setting that up as a regular venue for my students to go perform once a month, I found a really nice, sizable coffee house. At the time, they weren't doing any live music. They'd never done any kind of live music. They could probably fit about 50 inside, but they had this outside area in the strip mall that had power right outside the building, so we could hook up inside or outside, depending on weather. and there was a lot more room outside. That means we could get passersby in the shopping area, which was a more opportunity for our singers to get in front of different kinds of people and be in different situations. And the more different situations you can get in, the more skill you can build up as far as being not taken off task, not being kind of thrown off by different noise and different obstacles that walk into your path. So it's good to be in different opportunities as much as possible. So I approached them. Now I know, as my manager knows, that what is the goal of any business? It's traffic. They want people in their store. In the case of a coffee house, they want people to buy their drinks and their snacks, but their drinks is their major markup. If you go to a bar, the alcohol is their major markup. So they need people in the seats, and they need people not just to be sitting there, but they need them to buy something. So in order to make that valuable for the coffee house, as the manager for my students, I came in and I said, I have a vocal studio, I have X amount of singers, and we are looking for the right fit for a place for them to perform. And then I pitched to them what the benefit was to them, because that's honestly all they care about. I said, that means we have a regular built-in audience of family members and friends of about X amount of people. So in other words, I'm saying I have a guaranteed, I could fill your coffee house once a month just with our people alone. And not only that, but I will get up there, twice an hour and talk about your drink special and the things that they had the highest return of investment, so that that would make people hungry and thirsty, and I would talk about their people and basically commercialize for them and let people know how wonderful they were and how much we appreciate them, and build that loyalty between the new customer base, our people, and their venue. That was valuable to them, and they were all over that. And I said, on top of that, we'll bring our own equipment. All we need is power, and for you to allow us to come in 20 minutes early, set up, sing. We'll make sure it's clean. We don't leave any mess. So you have to make it a win-win-win-win-win for the venue. You have to say, what do they want? They want people in, and they want to sell stuff. That's the goal of their store, whether it's Pike Place Market or a little coffee shop. That's the goal. And then you have to say what's valuable to the singers. In this case, the singers needed different opportunities to sing in, and there was an indoor and an outdoor, which was great. And they needed a lot more road testing, going from song to song and not stopping, those kind of things, getting off lyrics. So really, those two opportunities, moving in and out, not knowing every month which part they were going to be singing in and when, was really good for them. So it met all of the criteria. It met all of the goals that we needed for the singers, plus it met all of the possible goals that the venue could have. And when you go in as your manager, you want to meet every possible goal that the venue could have. And that's how you're going to pitch it. Not, I'm a singer and I really want to, would you let me, please, please, please. Never lead with begging, because they're just going to assume you shouldn't be there. Excuse me. You lead with what you can reasonably guarantee them, which is going to be, I have a group of X amount of fans that tend to show up where I sing, or I have a mailing list of X amount of people that I will invite. Things like that. So you always want to think about, what do they want? They want people, and they want people who buy. So in the case of a holiday gig, it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit more flexible. So one of the things that all stores want at holiday time is to draw people in. You want people in, and you want people to stay longer. Not only that, but you need people to be in a really happy mood, because they'll buy more things while they're there. And the longer they listen to music, they tend to want to sit around and listen to the next song and next song, so they kind of weave in and out of stores. It keeps them in the place of shopping longer. So that is a really great opportunity. Really, you're not responsible for bringing the people in at holiday time. Your job is to make them happy and put them in the holiday mood. And if you sing Christmas songs, even if you miss a bunch of the notes and you do it with a huge smile, you can do that. You really can. I've tried it. It works. So you just gotta smile like this the whole time. Goofy holiday smile. Christmas songs. I messed that one up. Have you ever done that? Move on to the next one. That's all you have to do. Learn to fail. Learn to fail right, because you're going to fail often. You may as well learn how to do it well, right? So if I were going to go and I wanted to carol with a bunch of my friends, I would contact whoever owns the property, the mall office or whatever, and I'd say, I've got a group of singers that have prepared, so we're prepared already, prepared a bunch of music. We're going to be caroling at different places. and putting people in the holiday mood. And I know that when we do that, people tend to shop a lot longer. We'd love to come to your location and want to know what's the best place that we could cheer your customers so that they'll stay longer and shop more. So you're telling them, I'm going to come and sing. I'm going to do my best to put them in a shopping mood, which is all you can pretty much guarantee, right? And then when you phrase it that way, they're going to think, where are the most people coming in at? And they're probably going to put you in a place where you have most people traffic running through. Which means if you're busking, if you put a hat out and say, tips for holiday songs, you're going to get more money. And there's some people that make pretty good money just busking. So, and if you do it with a group, you just put out a hat and a little sign say, if we made you smile, toss us a 5. I mean, think big, right? And then you split it between whoever's there with you. Okay? Now, I want you to always think now, whether you are a brand new singer or you are a professional singer, this applies because you always want to be in the habit of creating your own opportunities to sing. When I was on an indie label, I wanted to go out at Christmas time and do some singing because it's honestly the best time in the world to get out and sing. And so I put on my manager's hat and I had a bunch of guys that the label had picked to be in my band, but I didn't need a whole band. I thought, what do I want? I want an opportunity to sing. And at the time I was raising my 4 kids. I thought I could really use some extra gifts that I don't have to pay for Christmas. That'd be really cool. And I know they're not going to pay me. In the case of this was I was on an indie Christian label, and I was doing a Christian rock album, and I had a good relationship with a really big Christian music store, but that was not something they ever did bring. They didn't have a budget for that, and if they don't have a budget for it, they don't do it regularly, they're not going to make it happen. It just doesn't happen. But I happen to know, because of years in radio, that one thing that is really easy for them is to give store gift cards, right? And this is the case at Barnes & Noble. This is the case at places like that as well. It's really easy for them to give out little credit for their store. So in the case of us, we had an EP for an upcoming project that I wanted to get in the hands of people. And I wanted to get out and get that in the hands of people. And I really wanted to buy some things for my kids for Christmas. So I asked one guitarist from my band if he wanted to come along and if he wanted to get some stuff for his kids too. And I went in as my own manager and I made a deal with the store and I said, we would love to entertain your holiday crowd and put them in a buy-in mood. And we put together a bunch of music. We can do a 3-hour set. And by the way, if you're going to do, probably the busiest shopping time is on a Saturday, usually from 1 to 4-ish, 2 to 5, somewhere in there. Usually the best shopping times are the biggest crowds. If you're going to get out and sing, that's a prime time to do it. And then I said, we'd love to trade it out if you'll come in and provide all of this music free and get everybody in the mood to stay in the store and browse longer and shop, and we'll trade it out for X amount of dollars in gift cards. And then I also asked them to give away our little EP at the cash register. It's just to offer it for free. Oh, hear that the artist back there singing, this is free if you want it. And because they hear you singing, they tend to want to pick it up. So that was promotion for the upcoming album. Now, because I was on an indie album, and my whole indie album project was, because I love researching things, it was my way to test what I had told artists for years. That is, I bet, so I did, and put my money where my mouth is, that I could make more money. I could pocket a lot more money as an indie album person in 1 year than you could with a major label in 2 years. And I knew what they were making because I got to hear all their complaints behind the scenes. I kind of knew what was going on. I thought, that's ridiculous. You can make so much more money as an indie if you knew what you were doing. So I did this indie label thing. And so because I was in the middle of kind of proving this concept, I knew that, and I told the guys in the band, we are going to play free sometimes, but never for no reason. Because it was a business venture, the indie album thing was a business venture, we will play free under 3 conditions. And I don't know that I remember them all, but basically it had to benefit us financially, or it had to be a huge promotion benefit. It had to be a benefit to the project. So in the case of me setting up the gig to do Christmas music at the big music store, I was able to get gift cards. I think I got $200 worth of gift cards, and he got $200 worth of gift cards too. And there's no way they would have ever paid that for live music, but that still had $200 worth of stuff we got in the store to give as gifts that Christmas season, which as a mother of 4, that was pretty cool. And we also got our EP given away to everybody that was there, picked them up. They ran out of them right away. So that was free promotion for upcoming our project. And we ended up doing a NASCAR family day when we did our kickoff. And a lot of the people that attended were people that picked up that EP at Christmas time. And it wasn't until spring that we did our kickoff. So it turned out to be a really, really good thing. So if you're more on it, aiming toward a professional level or even a working musician, keep that in mind. You should still be out there creating opportunities to sing. You don't always have to get paid to sing, but sometimes I totally appreciate that it needs to be worth your time. It needs to be worth your investment when your job is to make music. So that's okay. But maybe you need to have a chance to get out there, try a kind of music that you're not being paid currently, and you want to freshen your skills. Then to me, sometimes it's worth it to go out there and sing for free, to have an opportunity to play around musically with things in a high stress environment, which is in front of people that you wouldn't normally get a chance to do if you're only being booked for certain kinds of things. There's always a reason. Besides that, you should be bringing joy to other people. And the more fun you have singing, the more joy you can bring to others. So act as your own manager. Say, what does the venue want most? How can I make that happen? Don't make promises you can't keep, but know that I will invite my mailing list of X people. And by the way, this is why you should always have a website and 3 songs. You don't have to have yourname.com. You could simply have a SoundCloud account and do 3 demo songs of karaoke tracks and put them on there. Maybe that's something we'll talk about in the future. Let me know if that's something you'd like me to cover in these live training sessions. But you should always have something like that so that you can drop a business card with that link on it and say, here's where you can hear a sample of what I do. I'll be checking up with you in, I would say, 24, no more than 48 hours. Okay? So as a good manager, you're going to find an appropriate venue that you think you can make something happen for them. What do they want? They want people hanging around and buying. At any place you can go, that they want people to buy whatever it is they're selling. That's what they want. Farmers market, same thing. They want people to stay longer so they'll buy more from the people. So you're going to get better at interacting with the crowd because your job is to keep them there longer. That's going to be a challenge for you. So you're going to tell them what you're going to do to keep people longer. You're going to tell them how you're going to get people there. You're going to give them an example of what you sound like. And you're going to tell them a definite time when you'll be following up with them. If they don't give you a yes right away and set it up right away, I'm not sure, I have to check with my manager. That's why you always go to the manager, so you don't ever have to deal with that. Then you say, great, you know what? I've got a couple other calls to make anyway. I'm going to give you a call back tomorrow. What would be a great time for me to call you back tomorrow and check in on this? And since they know that they need to make a decision, they will make a decision. Almost always. And I haven't had anyone turn me down as long as you lead with the benefit to them. And know that the benefit for you is where it needs to be, whether that benefit is to try a different kind of music, or to have a chance to be in front of new people that you're not usually in front of, or to just get out of your house and get to singing and have some fun again. Because chances are we haven't been singing and we miss it, right? I know I do. Okay, I hope those ideas really serve you well. Please subscribe if you haven't already so that you know when our next live stream is coming up and our other stuff posts after the live stream, the replays. And they don't always post the same time the next day. I'm having some trouble since Corona. Everybody's stealing my internet, I'm pretty sure. So, not to be paranoid, but I have no internet. My stream went down. Okay, so to be notified of when those come up so you can hear the replays of the ones that you've missed, subscribe to our channel. Please leave me comments, whether you're watching this on a replay or live. Let me know what you think, what you want to know next, because this is what I do it for, not for me. I just do this to help you. And to help you rediscover, uncover, plug in more, and uncover more of that joy of singing. All right? Thank you so much for hanging with me today through the technical difficulties, and I'm so glad we got this taken care of. Okay, now, like I always say, you only have one thing left to do. Get out there and sing. Leave in the comments how you're going to do it, where you're going to go, and then let me know how it happens. Let me know how it goes. Okay? Enjoy your holiday.